Hey guys, happy Friday! If there's one book-related thing that 2014 taught me, it's that I'm not so great at the whole monthly TBR thing. They always started out pretty okay. I'd pick out 6 to 8 books that I really wanted to read that month, then I would start off reading 1 or 2 of them, and then I would just go completely rogue and read whatever the heck I wanted to read. So in 2015, in lieu of doing a monthly TBR, I'm gonna start doing weekly Friday Reads videos, in which I'll kind of recap what I read that week, and then show you what I'll be reading over the weekend and throughout the next week. So let's get started. The first book that I read this week and in the year 2015 was actually a reread for me, and that was The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I first read this book whenever I was 17 years old, and it completely changed my little teenage life. I didn't even know that there were books like this that existed, and honestly, now that I'm rereading it as an adult, let's just say that I'm very glad that I first read it as a teenager, because it didn't quite pack the same punch for me the second time around. It was still really good, some of the best writing that I've ever read, but it just wasn't quite as meaningful for me. But Catcher in the Rye still remains one of my favorite books. It's just, the second time around it was a little meh. Reading The Catcher in the Rye did get me interested in reading more of J.D. Salinger's work, so I decided to pick up 9 stories. This is, as you probably guessed, a collection of 9 short stories written by J.D. Salinger, and oh my god guys, these short stories, they're freaking perfect. Now, I haven't read a whole lot of short story collections in my life, but these are some of the best short stories. The characters in some of these 10 to 20 page stories are some of the best characters that I've ever read. They all feel so real and so very well fleshed out. I was blown away. This is some good stuff. So of course that book got me even more interested in reading J.D. Salinger, so I decided to pick up his third book, Franny and Zooey. This is 2 short stories about Franny and Zooey. All of J.D. Salinger's books are very creatively titled, as you can see. And what's so interesting about this book is that it's kind of a continuation of some of the stories that he told in this book. So in this book, there are a lot of stories about this family called the Glass family, and Franny and Zooey are part of that family. I enjoyed both of these stories equally as well. I kind of feel like Zooey could have been shortened a little bit. Zooey is 96 or so pages while Franny is like 40 pages, but nonetheless they were both really great stories. After reading these 3 books, I can definitely tell why J.D. Salinger is considered to be a lot of people's favorite author. Alright, don't laugh at me guys, but after I finished reading these 3 books, I decided to pick up one of J.D. Salinger's biographies. So this is kind of a beefy biography, but from what I understand, this is the most up-to-date and the most well put together of his biographies. They actually made a documentary based off of this book, and it's on Netflix, so after I'm finished reading it, if I'm still on that J.D. Salinger kick, maybe I'll watch it. What's so interesting about this book is that it's not a solid discourse. It's kind of like a collage. They have all these really great pictures, and instead of a solid discourse, as you can see, they kind of just take little snippets of different people that were involved in Salinger's life and take those and put them together to give kind of a full and complete story of his life and his works. Now, I didn't read the full book this week. I only got about 30 pages in, but from what I've read so far, it is very interesting, and I can definitely see how Salinger's early life influenced his work. Now on to what I'll be reading over the weekend and throughout the week. If you've been paying attention at all during this video, this next book should not come as any surprise, and it is Raise High the Roof Beam Carpenters in Seymour an Introduction. I figured that while I'm on this J.D. Salinger kick, I might as well just round it off with his 4th and last published work. I've actually never really heard anybody talk about this book, and I didn't really know that it existed until I purposefully sought out Salinger's bibliography, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do know that Seymour, who's part of one of the short stories in this book, is the main character of a short story in 9 stories that was my absolute favorite, so I'm definitely interested to read more about him. Now, finally, breaking away from J.D. Salinger, the next book that I'm going to pick up is The Cat Inside by William S. Burroughs. William S. Burroughs is a very popular American novelist. He was part of the Beat Generation in the 1950s. You'll probably recognize his name from his most famous work, The Naked Lunch. That's a pretty popular one, but I haven't read it. This is just a collection of thoughts, ideas, and poems about cats, and we all know how much I love cats. It's a very short book. It's only 94 pages, and it doesn't really have full-page text. It's just like these really tiny paragraphs. So like I said, it's just thoughts and ideas about cats. So I'm picturing myself reading this Saturday morning over my cup of coffee. This is certainly a book that I can finish in one sitting. So Penguin, the publishing company, has this portion of their website where you can go in and fill out a little questionnaire, and then they'll recommend you a set of books that you might enjoy reading. I did that, and one of the books that they recommended was actually a book that I had sitting on my shelf, and that was Flappers and Philosophers by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this cover. Look how beautiful it is. Look how well it goes with the rest of my Fitzgerald books. Gorgeous. From what I understand, this is a collection of short stories about strong young women in the 1920s and the men in their lives. Someone on Goodreads mentioned that Fitzgerald captures the female voice and experience surprisingly and exceptionally well, so that's something that I'm very interested to see myself. Reading J.D. Salinger over this week has kind of reignited my love of the short stories, so hopefully Fitzgerald will be able to kindle that love. The only book that I've ever read by Fitzgerald is obviously The Great Gatsby, and I read that years and years and years ago in high school. I don't really remember much about it, except that there was this guy named Gatsby, and he had a really big party. I don't remember what Fitzgerald's writing style is like or any of that, so reading this will kind of be like experiencing Fitzgerald for the first time. And then sporadically throughout the week, I plan on reading some more of Salinger's biography. I by no means intend to finish this next week, but I do plan to finish it by the end of the month. I'm just kind of hoping to be able to knock out a big chunk of it. Alright guys, that's everything that I read this week and what I will be reading over the weekend and throughout the week. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely more accurate than any monthly TBR that I could ever do would be. Yes, I hope all of you have a very good day and a very good weekend. Please comment below and let me know what you'll be reading over the weekend and throughout the week. And if you filmed a Friday Reads videos, please link it in the comments because those are some of my favorite videos to watch. Alright guys, bye!